Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. Welcome to Thursday. Welcome to Happy St. Patty's Day. What am I up to today? I decided I wanted to get the oil changed in this rig for a couple of reasons. To check the oil, not difficult at all. You just look at the sight glass right here and make sure it's in between those two lines. Well, when I look at the sight glass and check to see if it's in between both lines, I don't see an oil level, which means one of two things. The oil is so old that it's trash, or it's got too much in it. So this thing has an oil filter. By the way, this thing is a 2001 Lakota. So beneath this cover right here is the oil filter, and doing a nice left-handed oil change here. It's also windy as a hoot, so it's blowing all over the place. I tend to start the engines and let them run for a little while before I do a filter change or do an oil change. And it's a good idea to pay attention to what this looks like on the way out. Okay, and I'm just going to put it in the oil pan, basically in the same fashion I got it out of the oil pan, or took it out. That way I don't lose directionality. That's the oil filter block. It's got a nice O-ring on it, which is a good sign. We'll make sure that's nice and clear. By the way, these were 8mm to get the oil filter housing off. Now, for the oil plug, that's a 17, and you guys could see it right back there. I tend to set my wrench directionality before I attempt to loosen these, because sometimes when you're underneath you get yourself turned around backwards and so forth. And of course they got this in such a place that you can't quite get your fingers up to it. And of course the wrench is now oiled, so my fingers are slipping. No, might as well catch that. I'm not dripping any oil back here yet. And so you just take that plug out, and we're hoping that when the oil drains out, we'll be able to see how much to put back in. I got the oil at the local all-terrain vehicle place, and I did that deliberately. Some people just run any old oil in their all-terrain vehicles, and if you you have a piece of junk for an all-terrain vehicle, maybe you don't sweat it out too bad. Heck, I know some guys who used oil in them, because they don't sweat it out. Be careful not to lose this gasket here. Right, you kind of want to hang on to that. That's important. So I don't want that pitching backwards and dumping out. So now that I've more or less spilled oil all over the place, the job is to basically put the filter back in, right, And just clean everything up, and life should be good. Yeah, I got an official Kawasaki oil filter and Yamaha lube. He says, the guy claims, you guys could see, it's expensive, 21 bucks. By the time I got done paying for the oil, which is a gallon, I'm going to use half of it here. And the filter, it must have been like 8 bucks, because with tax it came out to just under 31. I like the idea that the filter's in a little bag. It keeps it nice and clean. So, genuine Kawasaki part. You gotta love that. Set that up like that. So yeah, it's just a matter of now just kind of cleaning up everything, right? Making it all the way nice. Actually, the oil doesn't look horrible. Looks like you got to pay attention to what direction this goes on also, because on the bottom of it, see, it's got kind of a drain thing. Actually, so all the sludge is on the bottom, right? So it was on like this, with that up, with this up, which is interesting, right? Because you guys could see all the bad news lying there on the bottom. Alright, I'm going to clean things up and change the oil and put it all back together again, and life should be good. The only other thing I would really watch out for is these. This is held on by 8 millimeters. So you want to, you don't want to put on your big man, watch me tighten this until things snap, right? You want to be very gentle, just use your wrist or maybe your fingers, depending on how strong your wrist is, right? You don't want to break those 8 millimeter drive bolts off. You want to make sure you don't lose that aluminum gasket down on the bolt there, right? You lose that, you'll drip oil forever, ever, and ever, and you don't want to do that either. And lastly, you really don't want to overfill, right? It's supposed to take somewhere around 2 quarts. So I'm going to put the first quart in. Oh, good. When I look through that sight glass, I don't know, could you guys see it? I could tell that it's not dirty. So basically it was overfilled. It did have a little too much oil in it. I'm going to clean up this mess just quickly for a little bit of oil on the cement like that. Obviously I wipe it up with a rag. And then I keep a certain amount of this garage dust, and I kind of sweep that into it. It absorbs it. Even chunks of dirt like this from the all-terrain vehicles, that really picks it right up. And then when you sweep it up and you put it in the garbage. Garbage by me that goes in the big green container and gets hauled to the end of the driveway. They have a garbage to steam generator plant in my area. So it gets burned. Everything gets burned up, and what comes out the end of it, you got to realize that I guess they have zones of burning and so forth. But basically, the metal that comes out of that plant, and I guess there is quite a bit of metal. People drop their silverware in, or decide they want to get rid of things they shouldn't necessarily get rid of by putting it in the barrel on the end of the driveway. And a lot of that stuff is made out of metal. Anyway, that metal is fairly valuable. I was talking to a couple of the characters who work at that plant. I took a welding class at BOCES, and a bunch of them were in it with me. And they were saying that people actually bid to get their hot little hands on that metal after it comes out of the burn plant. So there's a local industry, a local factory that has a lot of buildings right next to the burn plant. So they sell the steam they make to that company to heat all the facility. They supposedly they monitor the temperature they burn at, and they supposedly add lime to it and whatever else they need to add to it so that they get a decent burn out of it. They recycle the metal that comes out of it. Then the ash is which is I guess considered toxic waste, that gets hauled out to Pennsylvania, and they put it into, I guess they got some empty coal mines, and they put it in the coal mines. That's so the newspaper reads, let's put it that way. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching and commenting and subscribing. Let's hope this goes back together again as easy as it came apart. We'll catch up with you guys later. Take care now, folks. Once again, oil change on a 2001 Lakota, Kawasaki Lakota, and it seems to be very similar to the Bayou. But it is a little different than like the Honda 200. That's a Honda 200. To do an oil change on that, you drain the oil out the bottom, but then you take that side cover off and you clean up in there. It does not have an oil filter. So the Honda 200 ATC 200 does not have the oil filter. I don't believe the TRX 200 SX, I don't think this one has an oil filter either. Doesn't look it. The 250 does have an oil filter on the side of the engine. This side, the other side. Must be on the other side. I don't see it on this side. Yeah, but the 250 has an oil filter. I know the 350 has an oil filter. Yeah. Yeah, behind here is the oil filter on this one. Actually, yeah, this one does not have an oil filter. The 350's got an oil filter too. Yeah, and you guys could see it right on the other side of this cover right here. Alright, folks, thanks for watching and commenting and subscribing. Remember, keep your head up, your feet down, and get out there and enjoy all your days. Take care now, folks. Bye.